a city, a typical city, let's say a population of 2 lakh, and we have the sewered population about 50%, which is about 1 lakh, and the remaining non-sewered population, which is about another 1 lakh. So it's a half and half, right? And assuming the sludge from all these facilities, all these containments are being brought to the treatment plant, and all the sewers are bringing the sewage. What is the proportion of the relative proportion of the volumes that we are talking about? You find that the septage is hardly 0.5% of the volume of sewage that is generated. From the same population, which is 1 lakh each, sewage generated, if it is taken as 100%, the septage that is generated for the equivalent population is only 0.5%. So that's the kind of relative volumes we're talking about. So if you are adding 0.5%, it means that your city is already handling 50% of on-site systems and 50% of sewage. That's what it really means. So it is a very, very high figure because the population that is sustained by that 0.5% is so high. Right? Now, this is, we know that sewage flow varies over the day. So there's a morning peak here and an evening peak here. This because of use of water, right? So I think we all know this, the twin peak. And here is the septage flow. But how does septage flow vary? It only depends on when the tanker arrives and how big is the tanker and how quickly it discharges and what is the tanker volume and what is the frequency of emptying and the working hours and working days of your treatment facility. And moreover, there could be some seasonal influences as well. Rainy season, sometimes more dislodging, so more flow comes in. So the kind of variation that takes place here is over the day, twin peak. Here, only during working hours, maybe it's 9 to 5. And during that, when the tanker discharges, it shoots up, then there is no flow, right? So this is the kind of characteristics we expect in terms of daily flow. And what is the expected flow that you can expect? It's very small. This is 10,800 meter cube per day. That's assuming the 1 lakh population. And this is so much smaller, you can see here. This is so much smaller. Sorry, I can't see the screen here. So it's only 56 cubic meters per day. So that's the relative volumes which are so much smaller. Now let's take the flow, the sewage flow over the day. So this is how it varies. We saw that earlier. So the same twin peak configuration for sewage. When we add the sludge, what happens? It's only being added during that working hours, and the difference it makes to the instantaneous flow is very negligible here. You can see that, right? So the second graph that you see up there is the combined flow that is going through, and you find that it is the variation is also not great. So the flow itself is not an issue. This is something that we need to understand. So when we talk about how much flow can I add, I think that's a very misleading concept. We have